another step then is in the 2030s, when we can actually connect our neocortex, which is where we do our thinking, to computers. And I mean, just as this actually gains a lot to being connected to computers that will amplify its abilities. I mean, if this did not have any connection, it would be pretty stupid. It could not answer any of your questions.
If you're just listening to this, by the way, Ray's holding up the all-powerful smartphone.
So we're going to do that directly from our brains. I mean, these are pretty good. These already have amplified our intelligence. I'm already much smarter than I would otherwise be if I didn't have this. Because I remember my first book, The Age of Intelligent Machines, there was no way to get information from computers. I actually would go to a library, find a book, find the page that had an information I wanted, and I'd go to the copier, and my most significant information tool was a roll of quarters where I could feed the copier. Yeah. So we're already greatly advanced that we have these things. There's a few problems with it. First of all, I constantly put it down and I don't remember where I put it. I've actually never lost it, but you have to find it, then you have to turn it on. So there's a certain amount of steps. It would actually be quite useful if someone would just listen to your conversation and say, oh, that's, so-and-so actress, and tell you what you're talking about.
So going from active to passive, where it just permeates your whole life.
Yeah, exactly.
The way your brain does when you're awake. Your brain is always there.
Right. Now, that's something that could actually just about be done today, where it would listen to your conversation, understand what you're saying, understand what you're not missing, and give you that information. But another step is to actually go inside your brain.
Yeah.
And there are some prototypes where you can connect your brain. They actually don't have the amount of bandwidth that we need. They can work, but they work fairly slowly. So if it actually would connect to your neocortex, and the neocortex, which I described in How to Create a Mind, the neocortex is actually, it has different levels, and as you go up the levels, it's kind of like a pyramid. The top level is fairly small, and that's the level where you want to connect these brain extenders. So I believe that will happen in the 2030s. We will actually, so just the way this is greatly amplified by being connected to the cloud, we can connect our own brain to the cloud and just do what we can do by using this machine.
Do you think it would look like the brain-computer interface of like Neuralink? So would it be...
Well, Neuralink is an attempt to do that. It doesn't have the bandwidth that we need.
Yet, right?
Right. But I think, I mean, they're going to get permission for this because there are a lot of people who absolutely need it because they can't communicate. I know a couple of people like that who have ideas and they cannot move their muscles and so on. They can't communicate. So for them, this would be very valuable. But we could all use it. Basically, it'd be turn us into something that would be like we have a phone, but it would be in our mind. It would be kind of instantaneous.
And maybe communication between two people would not require this low bandwidth mechanism of language.
Yes,
a spoken word.
Exactly. We don't know what that would be, although we do know that computers can share information like language instantly. They can share many, many books in a second, so we could do that as well. If you look at what our brain does, it actually can manipulate different parameters. So we talk about these large language models. I mean, I had written that it requires a certain amount of information in order to be effective, and that we would not see AI really being effective until it got to that level. Mm-hmm. And we had large language models that were like 10 billion bytes. It didn't work very well. They finally got to 100 billion bytes, and now they work fairly well, and now we're going to a trillion bytes. If you say Lambda has 100 billion bytes, what does that mean? Well, what if you had something that had one byte, one parameter? Maybe you want to tell whether or not something's an elephant or not. And so you put in something that would detect its trunk. If it has a trunk, it's an elephant. If it doesn't have a trunk, it's not an elephant. And that would work fairly well. There's a few problems with it. And it really wouldn't be able to tell what a trunk is, but anyway.
And maybe other things other than elephants have trunks. You might get really confused.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure which animals have trunks, but plus how do you define a trunk? But yeah, that's one parameter. You can do okay.
So these things have 100 billion parameters, so they're able to deal with very complex issues.
All kinds of trunks.
Human beings actually have a little bit more than that, but they're getting to the point where they can emulate humans. If we were able to connect this to our neocortex, we would basically add more of these abilities to make distinctions, and it could ultimately be much smarter and also be attached to information that we feel is reliable. So that's where we're headed.
So you think that there will be a merger in the 30s, an increasing amount of merging between the human brain and the AI brain?
Exactly. And the AI brain is really an emulation of human beings. I mean, that's why we're creating them, because human beings act the same way, and this is basically to amplify them. I mean, this amplifies our brain. It's a little bit clumsy to interact with, but it definitely is way beyond what we had 15 years ago.
Please make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Leave us a comment down below about what topics you would like to see covered next. Thanks for watching.